2 games done, 2 games to go. Still Connor and I to bring you all the action. We've had some of our highest seeded teams just play, and some, in the case of Carry the Boats, fall to an unexpected challenger. But now we move to a matchup, Connor, for the common man. No, we don't have some former necessarily pro league players or big names coming here. This is, in my opinion, of the day, the tier 2 matchup right here.
Yeah? You think so? Because these teams are almost completely new to tier 2. So, it's the debut game, in my opinion. I think they're still transitioning. Maybe they'll prove themselves to be T2, but it's going to be an uphill battle and probably the closest game on paper between both of these teams.
Listen, if Carry the Boats didn't have like Sweater or Drip on the team, that would have been the tier 2 game, because that's basically just 2 different amalgamations of IF playing each other. Mm-hmm. But this, gotta work with what we have. This, in my opinion, is the tier 2 Challenger League, alumni game of the day. And our first team is a team that, Connor, you are very familiar with. That is near and dear to your heart, the Taken Kings.
Yes, because right there on the far left, Rai, that is my son.
Beautiful.
That is my son.
Not
I
Rai,
mentored him back in the NCSU days. Jet Conley. Yes, his name is Jet Conley, and that is Jet Con. That is why that name goes so incredibly hard. He's also a really great player coming and transitioning out of collegiate, and hopefully going to be kind of taking some names and putting some respect towards himself.
Can I take this next one? Guys. Yes. Burnt Turkey is in tier 2.
Mm-hmm.
The man himself. If you don't know who Burnt Turkey is, first of all, let's just appreciate how incredible of a name that is. And second, he has been a journeyman amateur player since 3-4 years, since I started casting.
Yeah, I'd say when we were starting casting.
When you and I were just getting started, Burnt Turkey was in the trenches. Like, we're talking Delta Force, but even, and not to be mean, but even less success to his name. And he's still been there. But now, he's always been good. He's always been a solid player. Just never really had some great players next to him. Now, Connor, maybe he's finally got the roster to make something happen.
He might just, because I remember Redux Rising, 32 kill Burnt Turkey sent the world on fire, where everybody was just like, who names himself Burnt Turkey? But I mean, at the end of the day, he's finally made it. But the team on the other side that he has to play against, they've also got some pretty big names that we're familiar with. Mainly a core from the OG Revenge Nation roster. BJL, who was on Orbit, so he's kind of a investigation file.
A little bit. He's snuck
Twist.
in there.
Twist we're familiar with.
That's Twist.Beast Coast right there.
Yeah.
That's our boy. That's Twist, I would say. If you're looking at the 1HP roster, Twist is the name that a lot of people, especially people who maybe aren't as familiar with the tier 2, tier 3 amateur scene, Twist is probably the guy they're most familiar with. He's been pro adjacent for a long time now, not just making a tier 2 debut last year, but also playing ranked, playing on stream with a lot of different pros, seemingly rumors that he might be having tryouts here, might be having tryouts there. I think he played a CL game last year from the Beast Coast house at one point. So again, this is a guy who's been around for a bit and is definitely the big star on this team.
Yeah, and all eyes are going to be drawn towards him, but I'm personally going to be watching Aimkey to see how he performs. So that's another one if you want like a little bit of a dark horse to focus in on, because we also don't have very much map data on either of these rosters in sort of recent history. But as we're going in towards Border, it's going to be a really interesting matchup against teams that we haven't really seen play on one of the quote-unquote newer maps, even though it's not that new in the map pool anymore. Should still be an exciting matchup.
And especially just because it's Border, a map that can sometimes just, you look it around and you shrug like, well, some people took gunfights. Maybe they were smart. Maybe they were stupid. But the round ended how it ended, and I guess we'll move on. This is just one of those maps where structure can sometimes go out the window. Logic can sometimes be put at the wayside. In this case, that'll probably be not necessarily a theme at the forefront, but something we'll have to consider through and throughout. Shout out to Cronefellow, one of our duos in Element 1. getting both predictions right today because a lot of us believed in the power of the name brand that is Carry the Boats, and we all paid for it.
That was a prediction not coming from the brain. It was coming from the heart. I want to see Wimpy win, but unfortunately, he kind of stunk last game.
Speaking of predictions from the heart, Connor, you're one of the only guys who predicted Taken Kings. Come on now.
Yep. It's also from the heart. But at the end of the day, I think from watching a little bit of 1HP coming through the quals, they were very big play dependent. In how Taken Kings plays the game is very methodical and almost seemingly designed to stop big play potentials. If somebody shuts down Twist on the side of 1 HP, what are they really going to do? That's where things get more difficult, and that's where this game is going to be won or lost, in my opinion.
My big word with 1 HP is definitely how deep that player pool goes, because Twist is certainly a good player at this level. He's proven himself, but big guy, BJL, and you said you have your eye on aim key, but they don't have a lot of really proof of their consistent performance at this level. They've got the reps at least. They've got the tenure in the case of BJL, but not a lot of success to look at and not a lot of big plays either. Of course, the ban phase is pretty much gone and finished in the time we've been talking about that, and not a whole lot of surprises. Ying Do could be banned. This is some of the highest banned attackers in the past few months. Mira, Valkyrie, especially Valkyrie, some of the highest banned defenders in the past few months. Mira only so because Solus and Azami and now Fenrir have become so pervasive in the defender and specifically the op ban meta. Mira often slips by. Plus, she was banned for basically 2 years straight. A lot of people have forgotten how good she is. In this case, 1 HP, they don't like her. You like though? They're okay dealing with the Fenrir.
Because they have the bees. That's how they're going to counter it. It doesn't matter if you can't see anything, because the red pings you can just still shoot at, even if you're scared and a Fenrir drop. What is that? F drop? F
not. I got you. Don't worry.
Yes, I know. I should definitely know that, especially because you've been planning out those wonderful content pieces with them. So you're right now the king of those spots.
I was stocking up on TikTok content pieces about where you should place your F not. And then a storm hit, and my internet was basically like down for hours on end every day for like a week and a half. So nature did not lose
power.
Nature
you didn't lose power like Crow.
That's true. I only lost power for about 20 minutes. However, there was going to be a lot of casting links on TikTok content pieces, but unfortunately, Mother Nature is not a fan of Fenrir, I suppose. Even though 1 HP has decided to leave him unbanned. Oh! Was shooting through the wall a little bit. Well, tag the Azami up on East Stairs. This is like a twist on that old Mr. B Beast Coast strat. They hold East Stairs. That time it's with a Wamai. This time they've got an Azami with the Kiba to hold it down.
Yeah, interestingly enough, this game seems to want to already, as we can just see with the matchup, that I think a general theme will be the deep, wide, horizontal extensions where there's going to be a lot of gunfights taken on the defensive side where they're going to try to start the momentum, they're going to try to set the tempo, and not let the attack breathe or reset or anything like that. But if the attack is able to just string together some gunfights, it's almost an all or nothing mentality where the round's going to be won so early or lost so early, as it's actually going to be a trade back and forth. Almost an even exchange, I would say, on utility side.
The defense loses the Warden with that 1.5 and the ability to see through flashes and smokes, and the attack loses those lifelines, concussive and destructive. I'd say that might just favor the attack with how prevalent Warden has been in the past few months, the past year, to be honest, actually. Might just be better. Oh, now with the Azami, downed at least. This trade is looking to favor 1 HP, but saved by the bell. Raiwai sets a Kiba up in that window. He survives. Poa doesn't, though. Taking Kings in an effective 2v4. One player up top, one player down below, and plenty of 1 HP attackers stationed on every single one. Scoob's got some powerful vertical angles, but Twist, the Brava, he's inside a break. looking to flank Scoob or at least cut off his rotation back to the site. Burnt Turkey spotted one and cut down Skunky as well. Rise on Death's Door, though. We're about to be an effective 2v3, and if the Wamai can't win it, Burnt Turkey's in a 1v3. He gets another one. Aim key cut down. Are you going to clutch this? He's got 30 seconds left, a couple F-Knots activated, and he knows the remaining attackers, at least one of them, are on that top floor. The flashes go on in, but he dodges them. He's holding this angle, waiting for 1 HP to start putting this bomb on the floor. He's spotted in the rotate, and that's when Twist strikes. Fenrir not able to back off. 1 HP, albeit almost in a difficult position because of the Fenrir. Still clutch it.
Yeah, the early round for 1 HP was still very strong. They seem to be quite comfortable pushing that bomb site from the sort of hybrid horizontal initial where they got control of workshop as well as ventilations, then were able to just put so much pressure on the site players that a lot of the roam had to start peeling back in fear of an execute. And that's when they started hitting the top. That's where they started really spreading, applying the vertical pressure that those players that fell back from their extended positions all of a sudden were pressured once again from the very position that they fell off of.
1 HP now start with that delicious 1-round lead. Sometimes it can shift into an equalization. Sometimes you can stretch it into 2. 1 HP, I don't think, had as dominant a start to immediately say, oh, they've got this next one in the bag. But they did start attacking Teller's Archives, and now they get to go to the normal side. They get to attack the site that I think a lot of people expect to attack first, Armory Archives. Just as this is the most preferred site for the defense, it's also the one that I imagine 1 HP are the most experienced at attacking. And finally as well, even though Taken Kings have dropped the Fenrir, Aim Key will bring the Grim. Solve for a problem that might necessarily not be there, but still bring those bees to shoot, cut off the rotations, find intel on somebody playing in an off-site position to facilitate a clear. If you're just now, watching this new bit of Grim in comp, if you haven't been watching, if that's Fiesta or anything like that, Grim is basically a Capitao or frag grenade substitute. That's probably how you're going to see him.
Yeah, it just makes it a lot easier to clear out power positions that players are going to be in. Because at the end of the day, you've got 5 projectiles. You can also, if you want to just throw them as burn, it's very versatile and could be interesting. But most likely they're going to burn for the Grim Bees to come in, as Brava's going to take the 90 cam on the top of East Stairs. It's a very good cam to steal. Very impactful. If for some reason Taken Kings doesn't notice that that cam is gone, they'll certainly notice that Scoob is gone because Skunky picks up an absolute freebie.
He tries to get aggressive. It's cut down. In 1 HP, they've got a layup right here. They've got a drone on Rai's position. They've got the wall opened up. They've got his coverage taken down. Rai has Kibas to continuously plug these holes and give the attack obstacles to clear around. Oh, but he's flashed and caught completely lacking. Very, very well done clear by 1 HP. Throw in the flashes, have the intel, know the Azami can't fight back, get in, get out, and we've still got half the round to burn.
Yeah, and for Taken Kings, they have less than half of their team left alive. Make that just a single player who's not long for the world as the pistol comes out. Skunky, huge double kill here at the end, but Taken Kings, they were just like fish in a barrel. They didn't seem to know where the attack was coming from initially. All the utility and all of the barricades and obstacles that they placed in front of 1 HP were just kicked away at a moment's notice and just overall completely outplayed at every level.
That was the round we were looking for to 1 HP to say, okay, they have the momentum. They've got things figured out. Not that Taken Kings can't come back because we're only 2 rounds in, but that was about as dominant a round as you can get with, as you said, Taken Kings scrambling. Where's the execute coming from? Where should I peek? Oh, I peeked somewhere. Oh, they're right there. I died immediately. The coordination was there. The strategy was there. The gunfights were there for 1 HP to be certain. Taken Kings going back down to Bathroom and Tellers. Fared a little better. This is still a site where if 1 HP, if they can get that entry and then keep their strategy sound, this is very easy. They just showed on Armory Archives that they can clear office, that they can take down that player on the hatch or playing to stop anybody from jumping in or planting inside a bathroom. They just showed that, except on a different bomb site. If 1 HP get that opening pick, as they've done the past 2 rounds, and then clear the remaining out from office, it might be a small, minimal take, but they could get it pretty easily if that same level of play remains consistent.
Yeah, definitely could. So, as things stand, kind of not a whole lot of positives to be taken from the Taken Kings defenses. Sure, you had a little bit of heroics on the side of Burnt Turkey in the late round clutch, but 1 HP are playing incredibly clean and concise Siege, especially if round 2 is to be really weighed heavier, because that's about as textbook of an attack as you can go for. Taken Kings had absolutely zero chance. It seemed like 1 HP just knew every single movement that Taken Kings was going for before they even did it. Aimkey tries to get aggressive towards the player over on half wall, but instead Scoob's just going to come out, get a kill, and Skunky's going to shut him down, but not before losing almost all of his HP, effectively rendering him one shot for the rest of this round.
Again, that's a trade that, just like the Ward and Zofia exchange in round 1, you might say, okay, maybe 1 HP don't come away with that, but they take down the Wamai, no more Magnus to generate throughout the round. They get an initial bit of control, CCTV taken down. The downside is Skunky takes a lot of damage getting that trade. So it's not as decisive, and if that had not happened, this would be another situation where, based on control gained, operator taken down, this favors the attack. Now, it's probably a dead heat. They still got to deal with the Fenrir moving around East Stairs, the other 2 players on that top floor, or, if they're careful, if they're concise, they might realize there's only 1 guy on the site right now, and if they can find a way to deal with Rai, it's possible that maybe they can make something work. As well, the bathroom wall's full reinforced. Fenrir doesn't have a rotation in. There are a lot of different options for 1 HP.
Yeah, but the dreads are going to be still very difficult to take care of, as seen what Burnt Turkey was able to do last round in a seemingly impossible to win position. Now, the door is definitely open for winnable, but as soon as I say soon as I say that, just everybody dies in unison, just leaving Rai. Bomb plant going down, he's dead. I should just never open my mouth again and say, oh, this round is winnable. And as soon as those words leave my mouth, 3 people die instantly.
Oh, yeah. Based on the trend of that round, it didn't seem like 1 HP had anything at that particular moment that maybe 10, 15 seconds in the future, they would be able to launch a completely flawless clear of the top floor and the bottom floor. It was like, okay, we have a 4v4, 1 guy on low HP, we have CC, have a foothold in the armory, but beyond that, nothing solid to push into office, nothing solid to push into the site, just a lot of 50-50s. And 1 HP in this case, some take the 50-50s, some just have a gunfight presented to them, and they all win it. Those are rounds that 1 HP, you're like, all right, that's a gimme. Sure, it might not have been the most great round, especially at the beginning, but hey, if you're going to give us gunfights, if you're just going to walk into our angles, if you're going to lose your 50-50 engagement, we'll take the 3-0 and then shore up our game for the next round. And that's not what they're going to do. Move on to ventilation and workshop. They had a bit of a shaky go at it on Teller's bathroom, but they've won it twice now. Taken Kings are not likely to go back to it again unless things get really dire. Sure, 1 HP might have to figure out this new bomb site, but even after a shaky attack, they're still 3-0.
Yeah, this is definitely not a position that Taken Kings are going to be happy with, because one of the things I said for 1 HP was, hey, what happens if Twist gets shut down? Guess how many deaths he has currently, Carter?
He has none. He has no deaths.
He has none. He has none. And Skunky also has twice as many kills as him. So, I guess even if Twist was to fall, it would be Skunky from more of a flex role, getting a lot of the kind of Stalebreaker, late-ish round frags that Taken Kings are really struggling with. For Taken Kings, they've either found success early and make the round seem like it's going kind of in a great direction, and then it all falls apart, or they've had the one singular round in round 1 where the early round looked really bad and they kind of clawed it back, but so far they haven't strung together a completely solid round, even if you kind of combine stuff. especially now that Vapoa has fallen at the hands of Twist early, and BJL might just be walking into the bomb site.
Oh.
Things are scary.
Not just might. He has most certainly walked into the bomb site, and nobody's home. Nobody's even answered the door. He had to let himself in. Taken Kings, if they want to retake this, they've got to retreat down to that middle floor, and they're all slaughtered the moment they walk down Armory stairs. Bomb goes down with little to no contestion by Taken Kings. Rai, he's still upstairs. He's looking down the hatch like, maybe somebody, could you please give me a gunfight? Nobody's biting. 1 HP, they have made their little nest inside of ventilation and workshop, and nobody's taking it away from them.
Carter, I don't necessarily want to say this, but
Be real, son.
I'm gonna be real.
Be real, son.
Which one of these teams did we invite?
Wow, you're bringing out that? They haven't even taken a tactical timeout.
I think 1 HP took that personally. I think they took that personally because they look incredibly strong. They look really good. And so far for Taken Kings to take their tactical timeout, I actually don't know if this roster has a coach. So, yes, they actually do. They do have a coach. His name is Wumbo. So hopefully he's spitting some absolute truth into their ears because there's a lot of things to fix so far.
A lot of things that need to be fixed, as you said. And unfortunately, there's not one easy solution for all of them. You could look at last round and say, all right, we didn't have anybody on the site. We were too spread out. We thought we could retreat back very quickly. That was not the case. We could not deal with the quick vent plant as easily as we thought we could with that retake strat. All right, that's site specific though. That's specifically for Ventilation Workshop. And if I'm being honest, I don't think you're going back to that the remainder of this half. So what else do you fix? All right. In round 3, I'm Wumbo right now. I was like, all right, guys, in round 3, we lost our gunfights. You know, we had a good setup, and then when they tried to take fights to us, we lost all of them. All right, that's one thing. That's a fix that if you do it, it'll help you in a lot of different areas. It'll help you in a lot of different positions.
Yeah, just shoot better.
Exactly. Just shoot better, or like position yourself in maybe more advantageous positions. All right, that's fine. But then go back to Tellers in the previous Armory round. What was the problem there? It was a myriad of things. Map control, utility, everything is going wrong for Taken Kings, and there's not one easy fix for all of them. It requires everyone to have in the back of their head what they need to do, how they need to adjust, what areas it's applicable, whether they're in that spot, and Wumbo had to fix all that in about 60 seconds. Well, Wumbo had to suggest all that in 60 seconds. Now in round 5, it's on Taken Kings to action on at least some of those.
Yeah, hopefully Wumbo's alter ego is actually Eminem in Rap God, and he could just speak so fast, but unfortunately, I don't know if that's the case. I don't even know if he could have said everything that we brought up because it took us longer than 60 seconds to go through that hypothetical. True. So yeah, not a great position because so far 1 HP just is seemingly infallible. They really haven't made any mistakes at all. And that's scary to think about, especially on the border attacks, which even some of the best teams can struggle with. It comes down to, is this a map attacker or defender sided? I don't know. Right now, it just seems to be 1 HP side, and I think they'll still find success as they swap to the defense if this trend continues.
They've already pushed the Fenrir off the bottom floor, out of ventilation, up main stairs. Hinky's already got the first pick as well. 1 HP aren't completely flawless on the entry duels, but in the one round, they lost the opening engagement. They immediately traded it back. It's been either 1 HP, keeping it close, or gaining the lead, and then converting those rounds every single time! And even here, they've got contingency on top of contingency! Aim keys on the drone. The defense seemingly goes for a smart play, and they've got Twist all the way out in Narnia, in no man's land, covering his teammate. Vipoa, he's going for another. Who the hell does he think he's peeking? Taken Kings in a 2v5. JetCon, below half HP, now dead on the floor. Connor, no, Scoob ain't that guy.
No, he was just a utility sponge right there as he got lion scanned, flashed twice, just every single piece of utility that 1 HP had remaining went the direction of Scoob, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news for Taken Kings fans, all of you at home,
And you
as
predicted
well as
them.
myself.
You predicted
Yeah,
them.
yeah, I know. I was gonna say that my prediction's probably gonna be wrong, and that means that they're gonna lose. And this might be our first 7-0 here in Element 1.
Are you calling it? Are you calling it now? Are you willing to make that prediction?
I am willing to make that prediction because 1 HP just at all levels looks better. They look better. They look so much cleaner as a roster. They're because if you think about it, a lot of the times you'd be like, okay, yeah, look, Twist and Skunky are hard carrying. That's why they're up 5-0. These guys are going crazy. But I mean, nobody else is dying. Big guy is 4-0. He's like not seeing people. He just like gets like one kill around. That like maybe like somebody's just a scraggler. But on the side of taking Kings, I mean, they're just failing at every level. 1 HP are just kind of team diffing them.
Yeah, there's an entry diff, there's a flex diff, there's a support diff,
Yep.
team diff.
This is just team diff.
Yeah. All sides right now, 1 HP, are beating Taken Kings. Looking to get that 6-0 half as Taken Kings. They'll do it, Connor. They will go back to Teller's bathroom, but to be fair, it is because everything else has failed. Armory Archives, Vent Workshop. This will be the 3rd time they've defended Teller's bathroom, and unfortunately for them, each time hasn't necessarily looked to be the closest. Though I will say, round 3, they had a good showing there. They had an alright showing. To start out, AMK is looking to deal with some of these players in vents. I think that's a smart position. Clear out this side early on. You don't have to worry about it when you go for a hatch drop later on.
Yeah, but Twist is going to get an opening pick because Scoob is peeking
Beautiful.
once again. Twist is just getting to sit outside and collect kills like he's going past the start of Monopoly. Just the free money for passing
He's
go.
the bank, yeah.
He is just the bank. He is just, I don't even know. This is, once again, from Taken Kings, just the wrong idea. AimKey, he's just going to get a free kill on yellow pings because Burn Turkey decided not to shoot the drone that was at his feet. Sure, Papoa bounces back onto BJL.
What's going on?
But AimKey still has the W key. He's going to keep on pushing because they're so incredibly confident as he's going to get another one and 1 HP completely shut down everything once again.
When I said they should clear out vents, I didn't mean like that. Like, they didn't need to go that hard. They got the initial kill. I was like, all right, that's pretty good. Honestly, like, I think you stay here, go for a second, which they did. They got the Z ping, and then we chill for a bit. And then, as you said, they had the W key, and they're like, all right, we're just going to keep pushing. We're just going to keep going. And they hollowed out the entire site.
To just take site.
Nice!
Wow. What the fuck?
You guys are fucking ass, man! What the fuck?
I mean, I can't repeat exactly what he just said, but 6-0 half, 1 HP are certainly, they have the right to feel that they are a step above their opponents. I think, Connor, would be the more academic way of phrasing what Twist just said.
Yes, typically in games, when I do the color commentary, I want to diagnose issues and potentially like provide positives.
You're a
that could be
doctor?
Yeah.
Dr. Depp.
And I'm running out of patience.
Oh!
Taking Kings.
That was a double entendre right there.
Because it's hurting my soul. It really
That
is.
was clean.
I just don't. There was so much to unpack on that defensive half because all of their ideas seemed wishy-washy. When they wanted to play utility, they had the utility set up. They just started swinging in front of it and shoving their face out windows.
Here's a decision though. All right, we're gonna do it right here. We're gonna do an over/under, okay? Over/under. Taken Kings breach 10 kills combined.
Ooh, will the parlay hit? 'Cause I'm gonna think under.
You think
I'm gonna say
under?
I'm going under.
All right, Connor doesn't think Taken Kings will get more than 2 kills in this round.
They have to get in the building.
They do have to get in the building, and that also means they have to deny the 7. Well, not necessarily. They don't have to deny the 7-0 to breach 10 kills combined, but it will certainly be more likely if they don't breach 10 kills that they got 7-0'd. BGL looking to get aggressive, but Vipoa with a nice tight shot. So JetCon traded out soon after. Makes that advantage very short-lived. He'll hop back out soon after as Twist lobs some shots his way. And Taken Kings, oh boy, they're at 10, Connor. The Under
no.
might lose.
You should have done. You did it on an even number. It's supposed to be like it should have been over under 10.5.
All right, fine. Over under 10.5. Fine.
Yeah. So, this is a Skunky gets a triple moment. As Twist gets to drop down, he gets to survive.
What?
What?
He's got a nade in hand. Vipo's lacking. Twist able to hop down. Oh no. Skunky's got
there's one for Skunky. He's getting 2 more.
There's one for Skunky. He's almost got as many kills as Taken Kings combined. Need one more kill for Taken Kings to make it over. Twist on low HP. Oh, he's such a freebie. Somebody's got to get the kill, but look at this haphazard control for Taken Kings, Connor. CCTV 90, but everyone is just all over the map.
Yeah, once again, it's like the idea is there, kind of. It's half-baked, and not everybody is buying into the ideology laid down by the team. They just look so disorganized and so just wishy-washy. But the parlay hits over. Unfortunate, I just went bankrupt.
Taken Kings.
So, yeah.
They do get more than 10 kills, but it's still to be decided if they deny us the first 7-0 of Element 1. 35 seconds left. Skunky looking to stop this armory breach. Is executing its tracks. He's got one. Oh, almost got the second. It's for Twist to wrap up nice in a neat bow. On 1 HP. 25 seconds left. Vipoa's got to check the prone angle. Twist running for his life. Oh, the pistol lands. No 7-0 just yet. But still, 5 rounds in a row if Taken Kings even want a chance at the W.
Alrighty, so all I have to do is just talk so much crap about Taken Kings, and maybe they'll win another round. There's a chance. There's a chance. Sure. We can also say that 1HP might have been doing a little bit of trolling. You notice both French operators were being played. Don't know how serious you are if you bring Rook and Doc. So.
Well, here's what I will say, okay? If you look at that final engagement, with the Echo, Skunky, fighting the second guy in the breach, he aims head level. That's a 2v1 for Twist and Skunky. Because he reacted first. He put Scoob down to 50 HP, where Scoob finished off the gunfight. He's aiming a little... This isn't like a critique, by the way. This is like a hypothetical. He's aiming a little higher. That's a 2v1. That's almost a gunfight going Skunky's way. So we almost had our 7-0. But not today. Still, this is gonna be a one-sided game, it feels like right now. It's possible Taken Kings could come back, but even that round, that was a 1v1 with Twist already on low HP. And it still didn't even feel to be a big victory for Taken Kings. 1 HP, we're able to even the man count continuously. We're gonna need to see more. And if they fall through even once, the game's over.
Yeah, and for 1 HP, I mean... they would be fighting for the top seed with Dilemma, playing against For My Gang. So, wanting to have a high round differential can send you into a pretty solid matchup to already try to push yourself into 2-0. So, if 1 HP started letting things get away from them, I honestly think that a lot of the closer games will be kind of harder matchups. The teams that won like 7-5, 7-4. So, will they set themselves up for the future? Potentially, but sure, Taken Kings have a lot to work on still, and Jekon being 1-7 after I hyped him up definitely needs to change. He's down below. He does have nades. He does seemingly have the element of surprise if he goes up East Stairs, but right now there's nobody really on that side of the map besides BJL holding a long angle.
He's trying his best to work his way into an unseen position. Scoob will open it up onto Twist. That's the Fenrir down. The F-Naught's not activated, will remain that way. Jetcon reveals his position right below the East Stairs camera. He'll just hold the angle, though. Make it so that nobody from the defense can rotate around and that avenue, that lane is shut down. Taken Kings have a good start to execute on that office side. Scoob also to apply some release pressure by the armory balcony as well. This is a decent start. And now aim key gone as well. Skunky put to 1 HP. 2 hitting the flank. So 1 player inside of armory will be shut down. It also means that big guy can stim up Skunky. But office control has basically been ceded to the attack.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a minute to play with and a man advantage. Sure, you might think that, hey, the Echo's one shot, but one Frenchman says that, yeah, we're going to make sure that that doesn't
Oh,
happen. But that healing Frenchman gets his head ripped straight from his shoulders as the man advantage grows. Once again, BJL tries to get aggressive. He's going to get cut down. It's just Skunky, Carter.
indeed, just Skunky. He's got a good gun, but now down on the floor. Oh, they can't finish him off. All right, there we go. All good. Taken Kings get their second round on the board, and now we've got something to talk about. They get the initial pick, they open things up in a 5v4, and then they just hold back, but have a clear strategy for what they want to do. Focus on office, open up those angles, have somebody lurk around Armory Balk to get any kills or get anybody that might be getting too aggressive or walking their way. That guy ends up dying, but he still does a lot of damage in the process, forces the Doc to heal the Echo, be by himself. Then also they get intel in the Doc's position. They just rotate around, take out the defender. That's all by their lonesome because they've got the time to work with. Finally from Taken Kings in that second victory, there is something. The kills were landing, the shots were landing, and Connor as well. It was a decent strategy overall.
Yeah, it definitely was. So, as things stand, 1HP can still take a very dominant win and cement themselves as probably the top seed out of the Buchholz Swiss, which I think round differential is the highest tiebreaker. Don't necessarily quote me on that, but every round still does matter for 1HP. They're switching up the bomb site. They're changing things up. I don't see a rock and a duck. A doc and a rook anymore, as a more traditional lineup is going to come through on their side after a bit of shenanigans of overpeaking, but more than anything, Taken Kings taking advantage of what they saw and having a clear and concise way to attack the bomb site. We will now see if we have to kind of see that same logic apply to a different bomb site and a different way to attack entirely.
We'll have to attack that bottom floor, start on multiple sides as well, though everyone focused on taking down BJL. The Giannis worked on in. He sees the head, but Vipoa is quicker on the trigger. Mozzie now down. That's Passport. They can move on in. Not really contest anything further, at least early on, but just hold. Stand back for the time being. And specifically, focused on this mute now. There are two areas for 1HP's defense that were ripe for a pinch. First, BJL, and now the mute inside of office, cut down by Scoob. The entire other half of the middle floor has been taken by the attack, and Twist trying to recover. A 3K for Scoobs, and Twist is only the third victim in a long line of heads taken by Taken Kings.
That is now a worrying position for 1HP because, I was saying maybe, the map might not be attacking or defensive sided. Maybe it's just 1HP sided. Maybe it's just really freaking attacker sided right now because it almost feels like the timeout that we saw come out of Taken Kings is on a delay. It's on a delay just like the stream that, they called it, they talked about some things, and it didn't come into effect until 2 rounds later. But if there's any time like the present, that's exactly what Taken King should be taking into account, because 3 rounds in a row, that's good. All they have to do is do that once again, and we might actually live to see overtime, Carter.
1HP have to take their time out now, because too much momentum gained by Taken Kings. 1 round when you're up 6-0 is like, guys, they got one, no 7-0 today. 2 rounds is like, they got some fights still left in them. All right, let's go. Let's see what you have. Then 3 rounds is like, okay, guys, like, serious? They've got a site rotation done now. We need to actually close the game. We need to figure this out. This is actually the serious point for 1HP because 6-1, it's not believable they'll come back. Once you get to 6-3, and the recency bias is favoring Taken Kings, and your victories are pretty far in the rearview mirror at that point, now you need to actually start figuring things out. And honestly, the defensive setups from 1HP, I thought they were getting a little overconfident. Honestly, they have been so easy for Taken Kings to encircle, win gunfights with, especially those offsite players like Twist even, the top performer for 1HP.
Yeah, I guess when he doesn't have a G36C in his hands, things get a little bit different. But I mean, the MP7 gun-wise should still be good. still a quite high DPS weapon, especially for the defense. And, you know, Carter, we have this wonderful thing in the game called one-shot headshot, so you should just be able to still win these gunfights, but maybe just overall, everybody on 1 HP is playing too predictable of positions. Kind of the same issue that we saw with Taken Kings, where there was so much intel on the side of 1 HP on their attacks that they just took very, very advantageous gunfights consistently. I think it's happening once again.
5 seconds left.
Can't be predictable. Cannot be predictable when the only consistent result in the past 3 rounds is your opponent mounting a comeback. Go down to Ventilation and Workshop now to try and throw Taken Kings off their game, move away from the traditional bomb sites of Armory Archives and Teller's Bathroom. Try to give Taken Kings something they need to think about, something that they need to consider, as opposed to just going with the defaults, going with the muscle memory that they're pretty used to at this point. Taken Kings will still need to take the top floor, so there will be some similarities. But another defender, this time the Malusi, seems to be in a spot that Taken Kings can take advantage of.
Yep, he's going to be instantly wall-banged out, but it wasn't even Jetcon who got the kill. It was Vapoa to land the decisive blow. As Aimkey, he falls immediately. Sure, 45 seconds was wasted, which is not that great, but more than anything, Jetcon, the primary and almost only vertical destruction operator, is taken by a Nitro, meaning that any vertical pressure applied by Taken Kings is going to fall on the shoulders of Scoobs and his breaching charges, as he loses almost all of his HP.
This is especially impactful as Big Guy retreats back to the site, and now he has a C4 to play from below. Jetcon lost his life to that, maybe a second will as well. Oh, but a great heads-up play from Scoob. Opens up the hatch, and there's Big Guy right in his sights. C4 no longer a factor, and man advantage regained. Sure, you don't have the skeleton key to open up holes in the floor. You only have the breaching charges to rely on from Scoob on the Ash. Now you have that advantage. No more C4s to worry about, and 1 minute and 20 seconds left to work with to move down towards the site. Vents is going to be relatively clear. You'll need to focus on Passport where BGL and Skunky are playing, but beyond that, the way into the site seems pretty apparent, but Twist is getting active. He's got another kill. Scoob's lurking on the other side, now no longer a factor. Oh, they've jumped in. They've made it.
Okay.
Burnt Turkey putting the bomb down. Nobody knows. 1 HP not reacting. Skunky just hoping that somebody swings in front of him, and it doesn't happen. The angle, the engagement doesn't present itself, and now he's got to decide. What do I do? Do I hop out? BGL's now down. This pre-fire's got to land. It's still by Poa hitting the shots. Twist has got a kill, but his position known. 4 rounds in a row now for Taken Kings, and 1 HP's timeout bears no fruit.
It's an interesting idea because when there's no site intel, Carter, what would you diagnose traditionally?
No site intel?
Yeah, like they didn't know that the bomb was going down.
I guess somebody not playing their position or not bringing the right utility, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things is you could be like, hey, you could bring an Echo, you could bring a Maestro, but they had a Maestro. I don't know where the bubbles were.
Maybe he got destroyed, but I'm asking the same question, Burnt Turkey. Chad, is this real? Is this real what I'm looking at right now?
No, type a 1 in chat if this is real.
Because it's a comeback from Taken Kings that I was joking about, saying, oh, it might happen. Oh, what if they win? But it's very real for 1 HP. Even then, there were marginal improvements on their mistakes. Sure, you had the Malusi inside of CCTV taken down and pinched very effectively by Taken Kings. The big guy's able to retreat, and sure, they give up the roam, and there's a lot of time to work with, but by taking out the Buck, minimal vertical destruction left, 1 HP had a winnable round. Taken Kings had 2 very heads-up calls. 1 individual, Scoob opening that hatch and taking down the remaining C4, and then 1 as a team. Realizing the intel, both from positioning and utility, on the vent window, wasn't all that 1 HP thought it was.
Yeah, and a 4-6 is not a position that I'm sure anybody would have thought of after we saw the just
Trouncing.
woeful, awful defenses from Taken Kings. But 1 HP are at least keeping it closer. But at the end of the day, 10 rounds have occurred. And the only similarity is that the defense has lost every single one of them. So, 1 HP, they've got to break the curse. Or if Taken Kings continue the curse, I need to look and see who has attack on overtime, because then they probably will win. I don't know. Everything gets weird, but Vapoa is already in the building on the catwalk, trying to push in towards break room, and might have a bit of an interesting gunfight over towards Twist as he looks away at the worst time.
He's still in a bad spot, only because Taken Kings have proven so effective at pinching these players in isolated positions. He's got that rotate 90, but not a lot of direct support. He gets the first kill. JetCon down, and with the Bailiff, he mounts his own getaway. Big play by Twist, not only to break with the Fate, but also to get a kill before. BJL still caught completely lacking. AFK at the wheel, and with a team kill, Twist cut down, that advantage gained is completely minimized. This could be a 4v3 right now, but instead, it's equal.
You know, actually, that was a very BM team kill because Twist was down, and so he just stole the kill.
Dang.
He denied the stats. That's what that was, because there was no chance Twist was getting revived. But Burnt Turkey and the rest of the squad on Taken Kings, they might be reviving their game plan, because in a 3v3 situation, they do have quite a few important pieces of map control, especially when Aimkey tries to go for the flank. He gets found out. Big guy is down below, waiting for the plant potentially, but if the Taken Kings read into this properly and maybe go for a different kind of off-meta plant spot over towards vents, maybe even on top of the desk, this entire plan can go to nothing. 1 HP would essentially have somebody down below doing absolutely nothing, but Skunky's still in the bomb site.
No! He's completely in front of the window, and somehow 1 HP still win that engagement. Burnt Turkey fights back, but both the Ace and the Yana, low HP, spots one, but Burnt Turkey finished off. Vapoa's got the intel, but he's got to land. The shots don't make the comeback, all for naught. 1 HP still close at 7-4. They might keep us waiting, but still good in the clutch.
Whew. I'm sure that 1 HP, they might have gained a couple of years in experience there. Just a couple of gray hairs started sprouting. I'm sure their coach probably has entirely head full of gray hair from the stress of watching his team almost throw a 6-0 lead, which would have been absolutely catastrophic. But at the end of the day, 1 HP were finally able to read properly. A couple of bounce back, mainly just winning the opening engagement on the defensive side was a struggle for both of these rosters. And as soon as it happened, as soon as Twist got that opening kill, the conversion was there. There no longer was a spearhead on the side of Taken Kings that made it so hard to break anything. And there was an awkward sort of stalemate where Taken Kings almost didn't seem to know where they wanted to go. And down below, the Soulless had so much information that allowed them to win.
Overall, I want to touch on something you mentioned towards the end of that game. One singular defense run. One. That entire half. After a 6-0 from 1 HP, that put the attack at 6, and Taken Kings had won 4 attacks afterwards. That final round, won by the defense. But I don't have the wherewithal to do the math on that right now. But that's still a ridiculous stat line. And as you said, Connor, the entries were predominantly with Taken Kings, predominantly with the attack. Once they break with the trend, fortunes change, the winds start turning in their favor, and suddenly we have a completely different ball game. Even though you had a weird TK and some advantages shift and change throughout the remainder of that round. And we have some comms as well for that remaining moment.
Let's go.
You couldn't have timed that one more perfectly.
Not what I thought it would be, but you know, it's fine. It's all good. You fat finger your drone sometime. It happens. Happens to the
Better
best.
than fat fingering Alt F4 and leaving the game.
That would have been a funny way to lose man advantage, wouldn't it? He's like, see, I have actually, quick aside, I have my sprint key bound to Alt in my game, so a fat finger is very possible because 4 is also my utility button. So if I'm really shaken, I go one too far, it's wraps for me.
That would be absolutely catastrophic. But at the end of the day, 1 HP avoided something catastrophic. They did not throw a 6-0 lead, which I would have been so incredibly disappointed with. But Also, on the flip side, Taken Kings having that sort of fortitude to bounce back, the little bit of resiliency to not give up while being 0-6 down is quite commendable as well.
Just able to close out that one round. Just able to
Yep.
close it out. Have that fortitude. Taken Kings have that fortitude to mount a comeback, not be daunted. It's good either way, but still, 1 HP. They drop 4 rounds. The ratings don't take that big of a damage. Still got a 1.21 average, 75% cost. I read the kills and the entries as kills and deaths. I was like, 45 and 6? That's not possible. It's like 6 entries still. Both teams faring decently on the entry side of things. But they were still, because of that first 6-0 half, they're going to be the team that's better in the ratings. Though Poa and Scoop, definitely in my mind, the 2 main entries, they were the ones not only getting those opening picks on their attack, but also the ones that created a lot of those openings and winning situations in Taken King's comeback.
Yeah, I think honestly, if we're looking at kind of who the MVP of this game would be, it's easy to say Twist, right?
Yeah.
You know, big number in rating, big number in kills, lower number in deaths, good number in entries. But if you look role-wise, Skunky going 12 and 6 with a 1.5 rating on more of like a support, second support flexi kind of position. He was on the Echo pretty much the entirety of the defensive side with a little bit of a foray on other operators. And on the attack, he was mainly ace with like 1 buck round, I believe. So really well done to him. That's a really big eye-opening for him, especially in a CL debut.
A lot of these players, as you started to mention right there, a lot of these players making it into CL for the first time. Burnt Turkey, Rai, JetCon, and a couple players that have been around but never quite made it. Big Guy, Aimkey, Skunky. This was the game of the up-and-comers. Not necessarily the youngest, but definitely the people who have been around and try to make it in. In this case, 1 HP. They take the long road to get there. They still reach their destination. We do have an interview with one member from 1 HP. We have Aimkey to talk about the victory. Sure. Oh, never mind. We don't have the interview, unfortunately. I guess Aimkey, I don't think he knows us like that, Connor. I don't think he messes with us like that.
I even said that we should watch him today. You know, I was really, I'm like, Aimkey's my dark horse. And then when we needed him most, he vanished.
It's fine.
Never mind, he's back.
Never
So,
mind.
like,
He heard us say, he's like, no, guys, dude. He sprinted. He just got back from the bathroom. He's like, I'm a big CNAPS fan. I'd love to be here. But we do have Aimkey to talk to, thankfully, from 1 HP. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing? How are we feeling?
Doing great. God, this is a scuff setup, but it's all good.
Well, I mean, listen. If are you a good sport when it comes to, banter, things like that? You a good sport?
No.
Oh, you're not? All right, fine. That's okay. Well, so you had, a very good game for 6 rounds, and you won the game 7-4. But there was a stretch right there, Aimkey, where your team seemed to be stumbling a little bit.
Sometimes, you get like an early start and then you kind of go a little too hard on the gas, and sometimes you got to pull back the reins. And that's what happened. We still 1-4. Doesn't matter. Who cares? We won. They didn't.
I mean, it's a bit simplistic, but I can't deny its truth. One other thing I do want to ask, specifically about the overall composition of 1 HP, a lot of the teams that get focus are like SSG Academy, big names, former pro talent, Carry the Boats, former pro talent, even like Osiris, a lot of journeyman T2 talent. But 1 HP specifically, disregarding Twist for the moment, this is the team that I feel more so than a lot of others is a lot of players who I haven't seen personally in CL last year, or I've seen in quals a few times, but have never seen made it. Do you guys feel that pressure of necessarily, being the up-and-comers going up against big teams, or does it really phase you?
Not really, because in my opinion, we were like one of the best D3 teams besides obviously like AAA and a couple others. Even if we're just looking like against Taken Kings or HK Rebels, this is the past 6 times we've played them on game day. We beat them. We haven't dropped the map to them for the last game day. So even though we're in this Scarrow, we're playing against invited teams because they made the major calls or whatever. I'm not afraid to play any of these teams.
And so going to the team composition, obviously, as I mentioned, Twist is probably the most, in terms of just different levels of competitive play, probably the most experienced. But we saw a lot of different players, you being one of them, Skunky being another, putting up numbers commensurate with Twist in that level of skill. How deep does the fragging power go on this roster, especially in a meta that's very gunfight heavy?
I mean, you have Twist and Donut on like entries on most of the maps. I entered Border just because I'm the best Border entry ever.
Shout out.
God Game Serve. Yeah, you know. But yeah, so we have kind of like a 3-entry system. Like we'll have 2 entries on a map, but like we have flexible players. So like sometimes all entry on Border, or like I do. Sometimes we'll have Donut and Twist on entry. Donut's always on entry. He just had a rough game. It happens. That guy always goes Nuki, so it doesn't matter. Next game he'll drop 18 for sure. And then we have a really good key. That guy is like the clutch god, even though he didn't need to clutch up today. He is the clutch god. So we have that as our backline. And then Big Guy's like the overall like flexible and then IGL player. He gets his picks, he tells us what to do, and it just works out.
Well, again, took a little bit of a longer route to get there, but nobody can deny that you clutched it in the end. 7-4 for 1 HP. Aim key, anything you want to say before we sign off?
So I have a funny story. I don't know if anyone in the Twitch chat watched the Fiend rants or whatever, or the Fee rants interviews, but he did an interview with a couple teams. One of them was with Scoob on Taking Kings, and those guys considered us rivals or something. Like we were like 1 HP and Taking Kings or XHK are rivals. But it's like you can't be rivals with another team if you just slaughtered them the past 6 game days. So that's all I gotta say.
Oh! Did you have to do that? Did you have to do that, Aim Key? Was that necessary?
Dude, I tried to talk trash in the all chat, man. I muted him up, and like that didn't get in my head. I saw the first message. I'm like, this guy really thinks he's gonna get here. He really thinks he's gonna finish it. I'm like, nope.
All right. Well, certainly, I know how you view the rivalry, but maybe Taking Kings will get a second chance some other time. Thank you very much, Aim Key, and congrats on the win.
Thank you, man.
God, we are so back. We are so back, Connor. What are you showing? What are you showing? Are you trying
I'm trying to show the Joel Embiid quote of, "This is not a rivalry. They always kick our butt." And he was talking about the Celtics. So
gotcha. So
yeah.
Just to explain the joke, that would be Taking Kings because they're losing a lot.
Yeah, they are losing constantly. That is 6 game days in a row. That's rough.
Well, maybe lucky number 7 will fare them better in the future if they rematch. That's 3 games done now, but we have 1 more to go. Before then, take a short break before we get into our final game of the initial part of the Swiss.